Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and just boys, because girls don't watch this channel, right? Today's video is the first of a new series called Patty's Bike Talk, where I offer up some of my thoughts and opinions within the cycling community. Now, this series is not geared towards professional cycling, for example, UCI rulings, race commentary, or even about world tour riders, because obviously that's not my area of expertise. And there are plenty of other channels out there that cover these topics. Instead, this series will take more of a practical approach on some of the things that I see within the world of a typical cyclist. Today's topic is training a bad thing. Now, the answer might seem pretty obvious, but let me give you an example. As of the filming of this video, I have been cycling now seriously for about the past 9 months. And it's only been the last 3 months that I've been doing any sort of structured training with the specific intentions of getting both faster and stronger. Even without bringing up the notion of ever entering a race one day, hopefully, do you know the top 2 responses I always get from fellow cyclists whenever I bring up the idea of me wanting to train to get faster? They typically fall into 2 camps. The first camp will say something along the lines of, yo, you've been training? Yo, that's awesome, man. I can't wait to see you out on the road. Let me know if you ever want to train together. And the second camp usually says something along the lines of, oh, training? Ooh, I don't like to train. I don't take cycling that serious. I like to just go out there and have fun. Yet, whenever a group ride comes up, that second camp is always the first ones to say, hey, if we're doing a group ride, don't drop me, okay? I'm not really that fast. Just don't drop me. Why is it that the second camp puts a negative twist towards the idea of training? Is it because they believe the only form of training requires high intensity, suffering, and pain? Do they believe that recreational rides can also have an aspect of training to them? Or maybe they've been around a whole bunch of goofy cyclists who take training way too seriously. Regardless of why certain cyclists view training as the antithesis to recreational riding, here are some things to consider. Number 1, training is not always centered around the intentions of racing or even being competitive, and I think that's where the disconnect or even the cognitive dissonance comes into play. In fact, most common cyclists will never ever race a single day. Think about the first couple of months that you became a cyclist. You may have thought, like I did, that the idea of riding 25 miles seemed impossible. So what did you do? Well, you probably trained slowly by increasing your miles. Perhaps you learned proper nutrition on and off the bike, and you may have even failed or even bonked, but all of that was a form of training to reach your goal. What if you wanted to do a Grand Fondo or even ride a Century? Would that not also require some form of training, even if you don't go balls to the wall whenever you're out on the bike path? Of course. The second thing to consider, guys, is let's face it, we all appreciate cycling with those who are stronger than us. You know, the ones who do all the pulling while we save energy, and then we get to go home, look at all of our Strava data, and then brag about averaging a higher speed than we would have if we rode solo. And you most certainly don't want to always be riding with people who are slower than you, right? I know I don't. And I assure you, those stronger riders did not train with the sole purpose of having you reap the benefits by holding their wheel. So if you want to contribute to your local group coffee ride, training to become a safer rider in a group, and even training to actually take pulls out in the front are all things that will ultimately benefit you and the group as a whole. And the third thing to consider, guys, is personal growth. Don't you want to improve on the things you enjoy spending time on? It doesn't have to be cycling. It could be perhaps improving the relationships of your family, your friends, or even improving your career. It could be training or practicing in other hobbies that you find enjoyment in. The fear of failure is what holds a lot of us back, but it is a necessary learning tool on the road to success. So in conclusion, training does not have to be a sufferfest session or a dogmatic approach to improve your quality of cycling. If you prefer training until there's snot dripping out of your nose and you're on the verge of bonking, good for you. If you prefer training by adding an extra mile or 2 on your bike commute to work, hey, that's awesome too. But let's not act like the idea of training is only synonymous with competitive cyclists. And if you are a recreational cyclist who does dismiss training as such, hey, no harm, no foul. But you are no longer allowed to draft in my wheel whenever I'm taking a pull at the front. So that's been today's video, guys. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. And I will check you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.